Hey guys, welcome back. This is History of Futurama, season 1, episode 10 of my show, but this is about episode 9 of season 1. Now, episode 9 is known as Hell is Other Robots. Now, as the name of the episode suggests, it has to do with robot hell and stuff, but before I start talking about the video, I just wanted to mention two things. First of all, I'm sorry I didn't post a video yesterday. The reason I didn't post a video yesterday was because it was Mother's Day and everything and stuff, and it just didn't feel right for me to post a video on Mother's Day when it's stuff. So that's why I didn't post a video yesterday. That's why I'm doing this one today. I just wanted to get that out of the way there. And since this is the last video for season 1, I'm going to start season 2 for Futurama on Disney Plus after I rewatch the final episode, after I post this video as soon as it's up on YouTube. I just wanted to get that out of the way. I also, I'll probably do a side project, like a movie review kind of thing for a side project. Not today, but maybe tomorrow. I just wanted to get that out of the way. But anyway, now getting into the actual episode. I'm sorry I got off topic there for the first minute of the video. I completely apologize. That's my bad. I'm sorry. But anyway, as I was saying, this is History of Futurama, Season 1, Episode 10 of my show, but this is about Episode 9, and Episode 9 is known as Hell is Other Robots, and basically, as the name of it states, it has to do with robot hell. Basically, the way this episode first starts off is Fry, Leela, and Bender are at this, rock concert hosted by the Beastie Boys, which is the group in the Futurama series. A lot of the characters in the series are famous actors who don't have bodies anymore, or famous people that don't have bodies anymore, like from the year 2000 and stuff. So, including the music actors, now the musicians, I mean. But anyway, I just wanted to get that out of the way there. Basically, what happens is Fry is, basically saying that this is awesome, like, because the concert is taking place at Madison Cube Garden, which I think is the future's version of, Madison Square Garden. I don't know if that's what it's going to be called in the year 3000, but if that is what it's called, it's going to be a little ironic. I just don't know, but who knows? It might happen in 1,000 years. They might change the name. I'm not really sure. Nobody knows what the future holds, especially now. I just wanted to get that out of the way. Anyway, Fry is saying that this is awesome. He's been waiting 1,000 years for a Beastie Boys show, and then basically what happens is while they're getting ready to watch the show, when the show starts, the announcer guy is like, "Ladies and gentlemen, here to lay down some old, incredibly old school beats, the Beastie Boys." And the funny thing about that is, you see, like I said, because they're heads without bodies, so in order for them to move to sing the songs, other people have to hold the chart to make the move, which is funny. I just wanted to get that out of the way. And then they start singing, and then while they're singing the song, basically what happens is Leela gets impressed with them because she's using her communication thing on her wrist to calculate how they're doing with the rhymes, and then when she sees how they're doing with it, she's like, "Impressive! They're busting out rhymes with an 87% success rate! With a 95% success rate! And then Bender's like, "I believe that counts as ill." At least from a technical standpoint. And then Fry gets a little annoyed with him and he's like, "Would you guys shut up? I'm trying to look cool." Which is basically he's annoyed because it's his first concert that he's been to since he's been frozen. And I don't think at this point in the series he's ever been to one in his timeline, which is the year 2000. So it's a little ironic. Anyway, while they're doing the dancing, what happens is Fry realizes that they're also doing like an old-fashioned mosh pit, and he tells the others that he tells Fry and Leela that they're gonna party like in 1999 again, and then basically they go down into the mosh pit and start dancing. And Bender and Fry start dancing in the mosh pit, but after Leela gets bumped a few times by the people in the mosh pit, she starts beating them up. Oh my god, I'm sorry, that's just funny. She starts beating them up a little bit after she gets knocked by them a couple times in the mosh pit. Oh my god, I'm sorry. Oh my god, I also forgot I was gonna laugh at the start of this video. Oh my god. Oh, I'm actually glad I'm laughing now. The reason I'm laughing, guys, I'm gonna explain why I'm laughing, because this episode is, since I already started talking about the episode, there's a funny scene with Bender in this episode, when he's in, I'm gonna explain what that funny scene is, but I just wanted to bring it up since I'm laughing right now. I can't help it, man. Oh my god, I'm sorry. That's just so hilarious. Oh. Anyway, after the mosh pit segment of it is done and they're doing one last song, Well, they're about to do one last song, and then Bender runs into this old friend of his that he knew at high school, which is named Fender, which is basically, this is a robot shaped like a jukebox. Oh, and he sees Bender, and then Bender's wondering if he hasn't seen him since high school, which is the second character from the first season that Bender knew from high school, because the first one was one of those animatronic robots that was on the Luna Park. Oh my god, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, it's just so hilarious. And he's wondering if Fender is still working at, well, first, what happens is they do them, like they do this last song where one of them says the Mirage and the Sabotage. And then one of them says, "Peace, we out," and they leave, and that's when Fender shows up, and then Bender is saying that he hasn't seen him since high school, and he wonders if he's still working at Jack in the Box. But he says, he tells them not anymore because he's with the band, and then he takes them over to meet them, and then when he introduces them to them, one of the members of the Beastie Boys basically says that they're not really that interested in meeting them, and then Fry says that back in his timeline he had all 60 of their albums, and then basically one of the members says that was 1,000 years ago now they got about 7 of them, and he wonders if he could borrow couple of the new ones and a couple of tapes and stuff. And then Fender turns his volume down, and then so he can whisper to Bender, like he's telling Bender that why don't they ditch those organ sex and hit the real party, which is basically Bender gets excited about that because he thinks it's a drinking thing, and he's like, "Count me in. I'm gonna drink till I reboot." So he goes with Fender over to where these other people are, and they're basically, and then the door opens, and then Fender is then when Bender sees what the party is, he's wondering what kind of party this is. There's no booze and only one honker, which is an electrical thing. And then basically Bender says that they're checking on, and then he plugs himself in to get a jolt. Which basically, what they mean by jacking on is basically they're plugging an electrical, an electrical plug-in into themselves to get a jolt of electricity. So basically, the friends that Fender has and him have a little bit of an electricity addiction, which causes Bender to get into it. Now that's gonna lead into the funny thing with them and stuff. Oh my god. Anyway, Fender asks Bender if he wants a jolt, and then Bender's like, hey, I'm no square, but isn't that indicated by my instruction manual? And then the two other robots that were jacking on with Fender start laughing, and then Fender tries to tell Bender that he has to take the jack because he told the guys he was cool. And then basically what happens is Bender's like, when Bender hears Fender say that, he's like, well, if jacking on will make strangers think I'm cool, I'm good with it. Oh my god. And so he basically plugs the electrical thing into his plug-in modem, and then it starts doing this little thing where it shows a psychedelic image of him dancing with an electric eel, and then after a while he gets too much of a jolt of it that Fender takes it out of him, and it says, and then Fender tells him that Fender doesn't want to get hooked on this stuff, and then Bender says that Fender doesn't have to worry because he doesn't have an addictive personality, and then now he drinks and smokes. Now that's not the part where he drinks and smokes that I find funny because it's ironic. I just find those two things ironic because he drinks and smokes because he's an alcohol-powered robot, so it's necessary for those things. But afterward, he plugs the electrical outlet back into himself to get a jolt again. Oh my god, I'm sorry. That's the part of it that's hilarious. And then basically what happens is after that, then it goes into a scene where Bender is with Fry, and then basically, because basically what happens is, because of that previous incident, Bender starts abusing electricity, like getting addicted to it and stuff, and he basically uses electricity to get different types of fixes, and basically what happens is after that, that leads into the one segment where he tries to get electricity from when he goes with Fry to the bad part of a neighborhood, and then Fry wonders what they're doing there, and then Bender tells him to shut up and calls him a square, and then basically he tells Fry that it'll just be a minute, which in this case, since he's hooked on electricity, is longer than a minute, so it's not really a minute, but it's an ironic terminology. But anyway, after Bender finally gets out of the underground place where he was getting the electricity from, he collapses, and then this preacher robot, like preacher/church robot, is telling him, wretched sinner unit, the path to purity lives here in the good book 2.0. And then Bender gets upset with him, and he's like, hey, do I preach to you when you're lying in a gutter? No, then beat it. And then the preacher robot gets upset, and the church robot gets upset, and then Fry's wondering who that is. And then Bender jokingly says the yo mama thing, and then he tells Fry to shut up and drag him to work. And then basically what happens is after that, Hermes then says that their electricity bill has been climbing up faster than a green snake up a he's like, our electric bill has been climbing up faster than a green snake up a sugar cane. And then he says that obviously someone has been using a lot of juice, which in this case juice means electricity. And he says that Zoidberg's probably the one that did it. And when Zoidberg hears that, he gets a little upset with Hermes about that. And then basically Bender walks in after a bit. And then after Bender walks in, one of the members of the Planet Express crew is welcoming him, and then Bender freaks out and he's like, none of your business, get off my back! And then because then he goes back to check onto electricity, and then the electricity starts acting bonkers again, and then basically what happens is, Leela says that if she didn't know any better, she'd think that Bender was abusing electricity, and then, Fry says that Bender is not, and he definitely would have noticed something, and then Bender comes out of that again, and then, and then he says that, that he's back from his break, he's better get back to work, and then he leaves again, and then Leela knocks on the door and said that she asks him if, Bender, are you jacking on in there? And then Bender says that he's not, which is a lie because he is, and then basically, that's when the professor comes in, and the professor tells Fry, Leela, and Bender that they have to make a delivery to Sicily 8, which is the mob planet. So they make the delivery, and then basically what happens is, on the way back from the planet after that, Fry says that he knew Big Vinny said he was something, but he still... But he wasn't paying attention, and then that's when Leela said, when the ship comes upon, Leela's still driving the ship, flying the ship at this time, and then basically she realizes that, well, first what happens is, Fry looks at Bender and he wonders if Bender's okay, and then Bender's like, none of your business, get off my back! And then basically, after that, Leela realizes that she's like, there seems to be an electrical disturbance in the Cossack Nebula. And then when Bender hears that, he's like, what kind of disturbance? And then she says that it's an electrical one and that it'll take some careful piloting to avoid it. And then basically what happens is Bender goes out of the ship, and then basically what he does is push the ship from the outside towards the electrical disturbance so that he can get a jack of electricity from the universe. And then when he drives the ship into the cloud, Fry's wondering that he says that, what's happening? He feels weird, and then his hair is all staticky, staticky, from how you get static electricity from time to time when you rub your head together, because of friction. And then basically, Bender is like, come on, universe, you mostly empty wuss. Give me all the juice you got. And then he gets zapped by the electrical current from the nebula. And then basically after that, in the next scene, because of what happened with the nebula, he's basically, his physical body is melted onto the ship because of the electricity. And then, so basically in the next scene, Amy has to use a jackhammer in order to get him off in order to basically get him off the ship. And then after he's off the ship, he wonders what is the other. And after he's off the ship, and Fry and Leela get upset with him, like, and the rest of the Planet Express crew get upset with him, and Leela says that they didn't mind his drinking or his gambling or Bender, we didn't mind your smoking, drinking, or your pornography ring. And then basically Zoidberg said, in fact, that's what they loved about him. But then Leela says that his electrical abuse crossed the line. He could have got Fry and Leela killed on the ship, which is true because of that. And then Fry gets upset with him, and then he mentions this story to Fry about how he trusted this friend that he once had before he had Bender, that he suspected was suspected of selling drugs, and when that's when his friend sold him his mom's something, and then he found out that his friend was doing drugs, and then basically after that, Fry says that Bender makes him sorry to be his friend, and then basically, and then basically what happens is after that, Bender says that they're right, he's a lost cause, so he basically goes out on his own, walking alone, because of depressed, not depressed because of lack of alcohol, but depressed because of his electricity abuse and stuff, and basically after that he wonders if there's another way, and then he basically uses the electricity from the church, the robot church in there, and then basically what happens is after he uses it, he wonders what's wrong, what's he doing. And then basically he sees them doing this congregation, the preacher robot and this and this I can't, and this other robot doing this robot church service, and then they mention about the robot devil and stuff, and then basically afterward, after wondering after the preacher robot says who will be saved, who, and then Bender crashes through the glass because I think it was partly because the glass could no longer stand his weight on it and stuff, which is why it cracked under it. And then he says, after he falls down, he says him, and then basically in the next scene, he shows up back in the Planet Express building, and then Bender's all happy because of his religion and stuff. He's basically, oh, what a beautiful morning. Oh, what a beautiful day. And then Fry gets worried that he might be hooked on electricity again. What? You're on electricity again? And then Bender says that he's not hooked on electricity, he's hooked on life. And he tells his friends that he's found religion, and then when Fry hears that, he's like, religion? Is this a scam to get free yarmulkes? And then basically, Leela tells Fry that they should get a grip. He should get a grip because basically, if Bender has found a way to kick his addiction, then they should support his friend, their friend with his religion and stuff. And then he said that's wonderful about it, and then he tells them that basically, then he supposes that they'll all come to his long, unair-conditioned baptism ceremony and stuff. And then they're having skepticisms about it, but then they decide to go to it, and then basically, the preacher robot is telling the other robots that they saved the soul of Bender, and then basically the preacher robot then asks Bender if he'll accept the views of their religion on eternal damnation if he sins to be in robot hell, and then basically he says yes he does, which basically means if he commits a sin he'll be put in robot hell, and then the preacher robot is telling them that he will baptize him, and he tells him to press any key to continue. So he presses a button on the preacher robot's keyboard, and then after that he's placed in his baptismal oil and stuff, and then he's given the mark of his religion, and then which is then welded onto him. And then this is the funny part about it, because after that what happens is Bender's like, while you're at it, could you touch up this seam? Now I don't think it's an electrical issue, but apparently he had some seam in the part of his body that he needed a blowtorch to touch up, and he got a little jolt from that. I don't think it was because of that. I think it was actually because it tickled a little bit, but that's just what I think anyway. And then basically it goes to this scene where Bender's taking the others out to dinner, and then basically after that, Leela gets surprised that because she said that that it's incredible. The old Bender never would have taken them out to dinner, and then the new version of Bender basically says that the old Bender's gone and he won't show them anymore. And then basically what happens is after that, the waiter says that would you like to see the wine list, and then what happens is Bender takes the wine list and then shreds it, and then basically he said that no poison for them, thanks. He'll stick to just good old-fashioned mineral oil. And then basically what happens is their food arrives and they're about to eat, but then Bender says that they have to do robot grace, and then he does this prayer, which is basically a robot version of a prayer, and then he says about, in the name of all that is good and logical, we thank the Lord for this chemical consumption from which this chemical food from which we are about to consume. And he says to quote the prophet Jeremiah, and then he starts saying some numbers like 000011110001100112, and then he says amen. And then after his long prayer is done, Fry's wondering if they can start eating now. Well, one of them is wondering if they can start eating now, and then Bender says yes, but he says first, since he loves them all so much, he wants to give them all hugs first, which is kind of sweet. So he gives Fry a hug, and he tells Fry that he's his friend, and then basically he's telling everyone else to line up for a hug. And then basically what happens is after that, in the next scene, Fry is saying to them that Bender's stupid religion is driving him nuts, and then basically what happens is after that, when they see him again and how happy he is, because of his religion, they try to find, he's become warped, like, not his old self. So they want to try to get Fry mentions that they gotta try to get the old Bender back, and then Leela says that, and I think I know just how to do it. We have to reacquaint him with a little thing called sleaze, which basically is, they're basically forcing him to attempt sins in order to get him back to his normal self before his religion and stuff. And that actually comes back to bite him in the butt because of what happens. I'll explain later. Basically, Fry and Leela and Bender take the Planet Express ship to Atlantic City, and Bender thinks that they're doing it to deliver a package, which is Fry says that it's the Mentos that he needs to throw in the garbage, and then after that he leaves to because he thinks it's back to work for the job, back to work after the job well done. But Fry and Leela, basically tempt him into doing sins against his religion, and after 3 tries of doing so, they manage to get him back to his old self. And then basically, while he's dancing with these robots, afterward, Fry's like, "It looks like we got the old Bender back." And then Bender's like, "You know it, pork pie, except for one thing." And then basically he takes the symbol of his old religion off his chest, which starts it to cause it to blink while it sinks into the thing. And then basically after that, he's in this hotel room with these fembots, and pretending that he's a major Hollywood director kind of thing. And he's trying to basically learn to score with them and stuff. And then he hears a knock on the door, and he's like, "Hey, I'm trying to score here. Can't you read the do not disturb sign?" So he basically goes out of the hot tub to the door and opens it, and that's when the robot devil shows up, and then Bender's like, "No, no," and then the robot devil's pitchfork conks him on the head, and then he gets knocked out from his apartment, from his hotel room, and then basically ends up in robot hell afterward. And then the robot devil's like, "Greetings, Bender. Welcome to Robot Hell." And then afterward, in the next scene, Leela's wondering what in the hell happened to Bender, because there's a drag mark and stuff, and then Fry says that Bender didn't check out because the ashtray's still warm, and then that's when Nibbler catches up on the scent of, and then basically Fry gets excited because he's like, "Look, Nibbler's caught the scent of vodka and motor oil. Go get it, boy!" And then they follow the scent leading from where the robot devil pulled down Bender out of his hotel room and into robot hell. And then basically Bender is saying that he's asking the robot devil if he's imagining this, and then the robot devil says that no, robot hell is quite real. And then he shows them their brochure, and then Bender says that he doesn't belong here, but the robot devil apologizes to Bender, but he says that he signed up for this when he joined their religion. If he sins, he goes to robot hell for all eternity. And then Bender he's like, "No, Bender, robot hell is quite real. Here's our brochure." And then Bender explains that he doesn't want to be here, but then the robot devil explains to him that, "Sorry, Bender, but you agreed to this when you joined our religion. If you sin, you go to robot hell for all eternity." And then Bender's like, "Aw, hell." And then he gets a little shocked by that. He's like, heck. And then the robot devil's like, "It's okay. It's all right. You can say that here." And then they follow, and by this point, Fry and Leela are still following the scent of vodka and motor oil that Nibbler had picked up, and then they end up at this abandoned theme park, and then Fry says that he knows the abandoned theme park, which is called Reckless Ted's Funland. Apparently, the theme park got shut down in the series when everyone caught salmonella from the flume ride. And then basically they're going into where the tracks are, and then Leela finds the symbol of Bender's old religion, and then basically she presses the symbol, which is basically a button, and then it opens the window screen, and then Fry's like, "Oh my god, an actual, factual robot hell!" And then Leela's like, "Who would have thought hell would actually exist, and it would be in New Jersey?" And then Fred says, actually, but by that point, he and Leela fall through this trapdoor, and then the robot devil is basically Leads into the part that's actually kind of funny. This leads into the part with the song because the robot devil was telling Bender that we know all your sins, Bender, and for each one, we prepared an agonizing and ironic punishment. Gentlemen, and then they start playing this up-tempo music, and then Bender's like, "Aw, crap, singing. Mind if I smoke?" And then the robot devil starts singing. Now, the reason why the singing is funny is because it's basically up-tempo singing and dancing that torments Bender. But the part of it that's actually funny is in the song later, after, when it gets to the second second level of robot hell, where he's on the wheel and it lands on Deep Fried Robot, and first with this part with the cigar, he's like, "Cigars are evil, you won't miss them. We'll find ways to simulate that smell. What a sorry fella, rolled up and smoked like a panatella. Here on level 1 of Robot Hell." Gambling, and then they're in the second level, and the robot devil's like, "Gambling's wrong, and so is cheating, so is forging phony IOUs. Let's let Lady Luck decide what type of torture's justified. I'm Pitboss here on level 2. And then when Bender's spun on the wheel of torture, he lands up on Deep Fried, and then basically the robot devil in the song's like, "Ooh, Deep Fried Robot." And that leads into the funny part with the song, because basically that's when Bender starts singing along. He's like, "Just tell me why." And then the robot devil is saying that, "Please read this 55-page warrant." And then he's like, in the song, he's like, "There must be robots worse than I." And then the robot devil says in the song that basically we checked around, there really aren't. And then Bender tries to explain what he's done in the song by saying, "Then please let me explain. My crimes were merely boyish pranks." And then the robot was like, "You stole from Boy Scouts, nuns, and banks." And then Bender gets annoyed with him in the song, and while he's singing that part of the song, he's also stealing the robot devil's wallet at the same time. He's like, "Oh, don't blame me, blame my upbringing." And then basically the robot devil gets annoyed with Bender for singing along with him. He's like, "Please stop singing while I am singing." And then he kicks him, and then they go down to the next level of robot hell, which is level 5. And then he says in the song that basically selling bootleg tapes is wrong. Musicians need that income to survive. Which is kind of true. They need the income from the selling for the CDs to survive and stuff. So musicians, when they do that, it kind of makes sense. And then basically the Beastie Boys make a cameo in the song where they scratch Bender's hard drive, and they say that, "Hey Bender, gonna make some noise. Got your hard drive scratched by the Beastie Boys. It's what you get on level 5. And then basically, that's when Fry and Leela's part of the song comes up, and then they're sliding down the slide that they fell into when they fell through that hole, and then Fry's like, in the song, he's like, "I don't feel well." And then Leela says that it's up to us to rescue him. And then Fry says in the song, "Maybe he likes it here in hell." And then Leela in the song's like, "It's us who tempted him to sin." And then Fry tries to chicken out, try to go back to the hotel, because he's in the next part of the song, he's like, "Maybe he's back at the motel." And then Leela says that in the song that she's telling Fry not to be scared, like, "Come on, Fry, don't be scared. I'm sure at least one of us will be spared. So just sit back and enjoy the ride." And this is the funny part. The ending segment of Fry and Leela's part with the song ends with Fry complaining. He's like, "My ass has blisters from the slide." And then basically, the robot devil is telling Bender in the song that, like, fencing diamonds, fixing cockfights, publishing indecent magazines. You'll pay for every crime. Knee deep in electric slime. You'll suffer till the end of time, enduring tortures, most of which rhyme. Trapped forever here in Robot Hell. And then he says that basically, of course, that's just for starters. And then basically, Fry and Leela show up, and then Fry's wondering if Bender's okay, and then Bender says, no. Oh, they're tormenting me with up-tempo singing and dancing. And then basically, Leela's asking the Beelzebub, which is the robot devil, that basically they're wondering how that they can get their friend back. And then basically, the robot devil says that they can't because he holds all the cards here. There's nothing they can do. And he tells them that, now, if you'll just sign this fiddle contest waiver, and then Fry's about to sign it, but then Leela slaps his hand to make him stop, and then basically she's like, because she wonders about what fiddle contest, and then the robot devil gets annoyed with that, and he's like, ugh, the Fairness in Hell Act of 2275 requires me to inform you that if you can best me in a fiddle contest, you win back Bender's soul, as well as a solid gold fiddle. And then when Fry hears about the solid gold fiddle thing, he's like, wouldn't a solid gold fiddle weigh hundreds of pounds and sound crummy? And then the robot devil says that the gold fiddle is mostly just for show, and then basically Leela's wondering if Fry can play the fiddle, and then basically Fry says that he can't, and she wonders if she can, but she says that she has it, but she can't, but she's played the drums, they're sort of similar. And then they're wondering what happens if, Leela wonders what happens if they lose, and then the robot devil's like, you'll only get a smaller silver fiddle, and I guess I'll kill one of you, him. And then Leela says that the Fry gets surprised by the fact that he'll be the one that get killed if they failed, and Leela says that they'll do it, and then basically what happens is after that Fry gets a little startled by Leela agreeing to it, and then they compete with the robot devil in the fiddle contest, and they like, very well, beat this, and he plays the fiddle a little bit using two hands filled with fiddle strings, and then basically Bender's like, well, we're boned, and then after the robot devil finishes, he gives it to Leela, and he's like, your turn, and she plays it a little, but it causes a scratchy noise, and then the robot devil thinks that he won it, basically, and then after that, Leela's like, time for the drum solo, and then he whacks him on the head with the fiddle, and then basically what happens is they start running to get out of the robot hell, and they manage to grab these robot things that have wings and then start flying up, and then basically the robot devil's like, stop them! They cheated! And then one of the other robot things that had the same type of wings that Bender had taken starts blasting them as they're flying up, and then one of his lasers lands over Bender, creating like a halo, and then it does the hallelujah stuff, and then basically the door starts closing, and then Leela's asking Bender to hurry, and then Bender gets a little annoyed with Leela when she says that because he's like, I could if you drop the stupid gold violin. And then basically Leela's like, oh, sorry, and then she drops it, and it conks the robot devil on the head, which causes them to move faster, and then they manage to get out of robot hell, and then after getting out, Bender tells them that they don't have to worry, he'll never be too good or too evil again. From now on, he'll just be him, and then basically Leela wonders if he can be just a little less evil than that, and then basically Bender makes a sarcastic joke where he says, I don't know, you think you could survive if these story football, and then Fred's like, good old Bender, and then that's basically where this episode stops. So if you guys like this video when I post it, just please give this video the real best you guys can, and I will see you guys later for season 2, for the season 2 set of videos for this series. I just wanted to get that out of the way, but until then, guys, like I always tell you with this series, fun on a bun.